welcome to the Other Page television program. My name is Haywood Fennell. This program is sponsored by Triad Veterans League, and we are happy to be here today, and we are really grateful for a friend, a man that has done and continues to do a lot of work in our community. He's well known, well respected, he loves his people. Attorney Joseph Feaster Jr. is here today, a man of talent that's just so abundant, and he uses it well. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Brother Haywood, with that introduction, my mother has passed on, but she's in heaven smiling.
Well, we always want to smile from heaven.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
How you been?
Fine. Pleasure to be here. You are one of my heroes. I'm always beaming when I'm in your presence. I like to receive all your missives that help educate me and certainly educate the community. So I am really blessed to be here today.
Certainly, that is a two-way and maybe sometimes a three-way street because of the work that you do crosses paths with the work that we at Triad are doing in many, many different phases of our development, particularly with this new pandemic.
Sure.
It's really an old pandemic because it has a lot of other ingredients that's still there. Racism, we're still dealing with exclusion, but at the same time, we're still encouraging each other that we can make the changes that we need to do that by seeding minds. And I just want to thank you for your work with the YMCA, your work with the veterans at the base, your work with just the community at large. I can't even begin to talk about your work, and we don't have enough time to talk about all that you do. But what I want to talk about is the shaping based on the pandemic, COVID-19, that the Urban League is doing to create a new paradigm for our people.
Well, thank you. Again, I'm really pleased to be the board chair at the Urban League and to serve along with Dr. Keith Motley as our consultant president and CEO, my board members there, and certainly our staff. It has been a trying time since March of 2020. We've had to restructure the way that we operate because as with other businesses and other nonprofits, our offices have been closed. We're about to open or reopen soon with certain protocols in mind. But we've been closed, but that hasn't stopped us from operating. We have still been providing our training courses. As you know, we did with Triad Veterans. We had a young person work with you, and we did that with other organizations. We're still getting our support of our government, business, and community partners in the work that we do. So we're continuing to try to make sure that we provide the underpinning for some educational and training programs for the people in our community, and we hope to expand those. So we're notwithstanding the pandemic, because as you know, Brother Haywood, when everybody else has a cold, we have the flu in our community. So and that metaphor applies even more stringently with this COVID-19. Right. Well, we're trying to do what we need to do, and we appreciate our partnership with Triad Veterans and other organizations and try to bring what we can to our community.
Well, you and Dr. Motley and the crew of staff that I had the opportunity to meet, I feel real good. I feel hope, because you never know where you're going to see Joe Feaster. I mean, yeah. That's just the reality of the situation, how people are always glad to see you because you do things. You came in and you were with the NAACP for quite some time. Can you speak about our progress in Boston based on diversity?
Well, you
And
know,
what do you see
sure.
it needed
Yeah.
to be done?
Well, it's interesting because you and I were talking about off air about the fact that we're both native New Yorkers.
Right.
You know, and I always say, born in the Bronx, raised in Queens, worked in Brooklyn, partied in Manhattan. You know,
Hit all the bells.
oh, except for you know,
Yeah.
now come on, you know,
Staten
we never
Island,
claim
never
Staten
go
Island,
there.
so you know, so I know they say 5 boroughs, but you and I say 4. We know how that operates. I came here in '67. My intentions were to go back to New York. I came up here to go to college at Northeastern University. What happened is I decided I stayed here for law school, and now, what's that would be 50-something years later, I'm still here working in our community to get certain things done. And yes, I served as president of the NAACP during some troubling times. I first became involved with the NAACP in '74 with school desegregation. Became president after my predecessor, the late Tom Atkins, left to be the general counsel for national. I was the first vice president, so in '78, I took over as the president of the branch and then was elected until, in fact, I was president when the convention came here in '82. Our focus, my views about the community is, and I said this to someone the other day because I am a direct beneficiary of the civil rights movement coming here into college in 1967, that while we have made gains, I felt that the gains that we should have made having come out of that period of time would have been greater. But as we see right now, we're going into a retrenchment of the gains that we've made, what has occurred in the last national administration, what's going on now about trying to turn back the abilities for voting rights, et cetera, that's going on in this country. So the question is, we make some steps forward, but we make steps backwards. But like you said, I'm going to remain encouraged. I'm trying to make sure that my daughter and my grandson, I'm going to try to lay the foundation to make things better for them. I have to focus in that regard.
One of the things that I was thinking about was the criminal justice system and the appointments that were made during the last administration, and how is that going to play out with these lifetime appointments of judges that are called conservative when it comes to our people?
Well, I'm going to talk about that, but I'm also going to, you know, one of my major areas that I focus on now is mental health, and I know we're going to get to that.
We're going to bring you there.
Yeah, we're going to get to that, but I'm sure you're referring to the appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court as a factor, but I tell folks, while that is important, remember you first get into it, at least in the federal system, and these are lifetime appointments as well, you get into it in the district courts and then the appellate courts. That's where the process starts. And again, what the Trump administration paid attention to, and the Republicans, unlike the Democrats, is appointments in those lower federal courts. Right. So what you have is a situation that's going to transcend just the appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court. The impact is going to be felt because not every case gets to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Right.
What happens is on those lower court, federal court levels, things are happening. Interesting enough, I spoke with a brother named Ron LeGrand just yesterday, and he's involved with this whole thing, whole process of looking at the criminal justice system, and in terms of the criminal sentencing and things of that nature. So it's just interesting that you would raise that when I just had this conversation, and I said to him, we need to have a conversation, and he mentioned to me that his organization has been in contact with our district attorney here in Boston, Rachel Rollins, who I hope does get the appointment for the U.S. attorney here in the 1st District. So there's much work to be done.
Right, so let me just interrupt you because I wasn't talking about the Supreme Court.
Okay.
But I got this in my ear, so it kind of hinders my hearing. But I was talking about the district level.
Okay, good.
I was talking about the district level.
Well, in terms of, see, you and I are in sync because I know that we need to be as much concerned about what happens in the lower courts level because that's where we're going to be affected and impacted the most.
Let me just gear up now. I'm bringing you in now.
Coming in for the land.
Your work is well known in the field of mental health. and mental health education. And I want to thank you because I was on a panel one time over at the Salvation Army facility a few years ago, and you were the host of that situation, and you talked about your son. And I just want to know, with the rise in our community of suicides, attempt suicides, how does it all come about? Some people have an illness, and some people become depressed because of social injustices, etc. What is the difference, and how do we deal with that?
Well, again, thank you for introducing the subject matter, because it's so much, I see it as my ministry. And I feel as in my ministry, not only because of my relationships and connections I've had with the community health center movement, but when my son was afflicted with mental illness, and even with defining it as that, it's really hard to say because he never had a diagnosis of having it, but we say he suffered from bipolar depression. And it was first manifested when he went away to college at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'll just skip ahead. He had only 3 episodes, one of which resulted in his death by suicide on August 3rd of 2010. And so I've devoted much of my volunteer time to being involved with trying to educate, particularly caregivers. See, I'm a caregiver, not a clinician, so I can't give you the clinical responses as to how people are affected, but because I'm in that conversation, because I serve as executive council member, executive committee member of the Mass Association for Mental Health. I serve as an advisory council member with Samaritans, Massachusetts, and I've been with NAMI. And what I try to do is to be out there to make sure, I try to advocate and agitate around trying to get funding and support for folks who may be afflicted with mental health.
You said advocate and agitate.
That's right. I do both in terms,
okay.
Sometimes folks.
I have that.
Well, the reason why I say that, because sometimes folks feel that if you're wearing a suit and a jacket and a tie that you can't agitate. Oh, yes, we can.
Right.
On the issues that are important. And this pandemic has really brought home people's attention to the question of mental illness, because the isolation, both for our seniors and for our young people.
Especially our young people.
Exactly. I think about growing up, if I rather get a spanking than to get told that I had to stay in the house.
Right.
I wanted to be out. I wanted to go out and turn the front. I don't want to be looking out the window at my friends. That's right. I don't want to be looking out the window when I was under punishment with my friends. I wanted to be out. Well, just think about that on a year and a half. No interaction with their friends. I'm going to be going to my grandson's soccer game.
Yeah.
In terms of he was remote learning all last year.
Right.
So at least there were things that we were able to do with him to give him some of that. But just think about the persons who don't have the resources, who weren't able to do that. That we had the youngsters who weren't getting the educational aspects that they needed, that they really couldn't adapt. Some people didn't even have computers. So just think about the issue of domestic violence. You're there in a situation whereby you can't get out of the surroundings of the abuser.
Those are the types of things
folks don't think about.
Right. Those are the things that people are not thinking about.
They're not thinking about. So even in that regard, I've had those conversations in that, and we look at that in there. If you look at in terms of the increase in the amount of suicides, if you think about the increases in domestic violence, coupled with what's now being discussed about what's going on with Facebook and Instagram and all of these types of things, our young people are confronted with so many things that you and I never had to be confronted.
I got another question. I got to come at you now.
Okay.
I got to come at you, Brother Joe, because you said you're a caregiver, advocate, agitator, all of that combined, right? And the same things that you are observing and others are observing and now talking about, what does that say about how we diagnose our young people now? Because I remember when I was working with pyramid builders, and I would have to go to one of those sessions with the nurse and the parent, and they would say, well, this is the behavior these are kind of episodes he's having, and he's oppositionally defiant. Okay, oppositional defiant. You know, and I said, well, oppositional defiant, that might be he's bored.
That's right.
But does he need suggested medication or suggested therapy, whatever that might be? And without them really understanding the factors that we are going through now, compounds the diagnostic approach that they use in the schools and in service providing agencies.
Well, first and foremost, there are not sufficient number of culturally competent clinicians, psychologists and psychiatrists that are dealing with our black boys and girls. It just aren't. So you take that with a society which only, say in the past 15 years, even wanted to talk about the issues of mental illness. Folks with, our whole, from a societal standpoint, trying to address behavioral health versus physical health, behavioral health is treated like it's not important at all.
Yeah.
And even though I hated to see the Sandy Hooks and Columbine and all of those things occur, that began to bring the attention, wrongfully, because folks began to categorize mental health as being violent. Folks who are suffering from mental health usually is violence against themselves, not in terms of others, but those circumstances created at least to begin to focus our attention on that and began to bring resources. So they started pushing insurance companies to be covered. I can tell you the nightmares that we as caregivers, parents, have to confront when our children are afflicted by mental illness and trying to navigate the health system to provide some type of care for our children. You would need a program at least 2 hours long for me to tell you about that, my experiences as well as those with persons I speak with. So we need persons who are competent, in turn, culturally competent, to begin to diagnose what are the actual things affecting our young black and brown children, and to be able to give them, sometimes it's medication, but sometimes there's other things that they need.
Right, when you were talking, right, I had this graphic come in my mind of a parent trying to push their child out the door, and the kid is holding on to the door to keep him going out because he don't want further trauma in his life. And the parent is saying, hey, you gotta go, and the kid is saying, no, I don't want to go, I want to stay in because I don't want.
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example. I remember I was at Morning Star Baptist Church, which is my church, and when I'm afflicted with something, I try to be helpful to others. So I created a discussion group and brought experts in, et cetera.
Good.
And I can recall a mother was there. She said, well, I thought my son was just being lazy. He wouldn't get up, he wouldn't go to school, et cetera. Alert, that's called depression. But if you don't know, you don't know. So
right.
So your graphic is exactly it. This kid's suffering from depression. Person says, oh, you're lazy, you're not doing anything, pushing them out the door, and that's only going to exacerbate the situation that the person has.
And not knowing the signs.
Well, that's the other thing. We have to educate folks. So like I can add to the advocacy and agitation is education.
Right.
We have to begin to do that, and we have something which you can get through NAMI, you can get through Samaritans. What are the signs? Some of the signs are things like change of eating habit, change of things they're interested in, change of friendship. If one is suffering from bipolar, there's the depressive side and there's also the manic side. They're doing things in terms of, spending money frivolously, high sex drives. All of these are things that clinicians can tell you. But what we have done, now that the society has recognized that there is something called behavioral health, what we do is now pediatricians have to go, and I'm sure when you go to the doctor, they ask you questions such as, are you feeling sad today, Mr. Fennell?
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's what they put in about 10 years ago. They at least are asking the question. I don't know what that is manifesting and addressing the issue and et cetera. But what I do is, because I'm so vocal on the question of mental health and suicide and outspoken on that, I have an array of psychologists and psychiatrists, so when people call me, of color, people call me, I direct them to those clinicians because I don't profess to have the clinical aspects to address it, but I try to be a resource
Right.
when
I
people
think
have
that's
it.
very important.
So I get a lot of calls.
The other thing I wanted to just quickly talk about is the veteran. The veteran represents a segment of our society, black veterans, that were, many of them traumatized before they even went in the military. And once they got in the military and saw all the violence and the racism and the racial slurs, that just heightened their refusal to obey orders. And a lot of them got bad conduct discharges after busting somebody in the head or getting busted in the head and all of that. And then to have a former Secretary of Defense in 2 administrations openly state that, yeah, we lived that system for decades. So I'm trying to figure out, how do we work to get the providers? I know that Dr. Warren, before he passed tonight, we did a survey document that was funded by the Boston Public Health with John, what was his name? Allback was the commissioner. And we had a finding that was our gut feeling. And Ron Armstead told us, you can't deal with gut feelings, you gotta do surveys. And we found out that our black veterans do not trust the service providers at the VA because then there are no service providers that look like them. So what is your take on working with veterans? Do you see a possibility of people getting more enlightened? Do we need to have a citywide conference, just to talk about veterans and to include that?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, and I know Ron and others, and I know Dr. Warner and others, I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I know you're a Vietnam vet,
Yeah.
and
Non-combat, but I'm there.
But it doesn't matter. You were there. I was in that age group. It's just I had the right number and didn't have to serve.
Yeah.
But because remember they were doing lotteries back then, unless one went to a list. But the reality is, on your point, I don't distinguish between. I think the veterans are a particular class.
Yes.
From this standpoint, particularly as it relates to mental illness with PTSD, all the things you talked about, because you start to look at it. Not only did they confront it while they were in combat, they had it on the base. They had it in terms of the communities where those bases were, the racism, et cetera. And anyone, and this gets back to the history, one learns the history of what you had to confront when you were in the military, from all of those, all the negative things. The folks prior to that, like my father's sport, was in the Korean War. They came back, they couldn't get housing loans, they couldn't get all of the VA loans, they couldn't get any of those types of things in terms of the racism. When you start talking about not feeling comfortable going to the VA, we know the VA has been in disarray for a bunch of years in terms of its delivery of services. And what I said earlier, when somebody else has a cold, we have the flu. So you know that black veterans just weren't getting the type of treatment that was necessary. So I think, yes, we need to have a focus of attention. Now, granted, you and I have had, I'm very supportive of Triad veterans. There's the organization called Home Base that's supposed to provide that. I want to be able to say, yes, let's direct out, since they are connected to Mass General Hospital, let's get our black veterans engaged in there. They take care of all of the needs of veterans. And what we have to be able to say, we don't need something necessarily separate. We need something that's going to work and that we have access to, and that might be a basis for it. So we need to focus on it.
We're gonna thank you so much for coming in. Attorney Joseph Feaster Jr., my good friend and a friend to the community, has shared on important matters. And you can see what I'm talking about. He does what he says. He's a solution-driven strategist. And we're going to look at coming together at the table for this last narrative that you just talked about.
Well, let's have the conference, and I can offer the Urban League as a convener.
Okay.
We've talked about it, a possibility of having you and Triad Veterans you're already a partner and an affiliate of ours. Our veterans are part of our community, and for the service that they were given, we need to address whatever their concerns
We want
are.
to get you. We want to get you back here.
I'll be more than
I know
happy to
you're
come.
busy, but I'm going to find a way. We're going to be talking more. I want to thank you for coming in from your busy schedule.
Well, thank you for
God
having
bless
me.
you and your family. Get to that soccer game. Joe, I don't want you to blame me for your not being there.
I'm on time.
All right,
I'm
Joe.
on time, and
Thank you
it's
so
always
much.
a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, I really
Anytime.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. God
We'll
bless
be right back, folks. This is The Other Page Television. My name is Haywood Fennell. We'll be right back with a new guest. Thank you so much. Again, this is Haywood Fennell, our program, The Other Page Television. I'm the host of that. This program is brought to you by Triad Veterans League. You know, we are a veterans organization, and we are concerned about our community, and we also like to bring in people that are making a difference in our community. We have one such person today, one that I've known quite a few years. She's done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things. We've done a lot of things. But right now I want to introduce you to my good friend Smiley, Latanya Jones. Latanya Jones. Hello, Tanya.
Hey, how's it going, Mom?
It's absolutely wonderful to have you here, my dear.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be
So
here.
long and everything. You have been here, there, everywhere, and you finally got here to The Other Page, huh?
To The Other Page, yes.
How you been, though? You look well. How's everything?
Things are well. I won't complain. How about
Okay,
that? I won't complain.
No, nobody wants to hear a complaint. But
Nobody.
what I want to say, Tanya, to you and to let our audience know the depth of my appreciation for your standing up, able to go through some of the traumatic experiences that we've gone through the years, and here we are today able to speak for ourselves. Not only are we able to speak for ourselves, you and I share the talent of being writers,
Yes.
you know, and that's something that everybody says they'd like to do, but they can't do it.
Right.
You know, tell us about your experiences of getting to the level that you are in terms of your writing.
In my writing, great. Okay, that's a good question. For me, writing was innate. It was something that we did in our family. To honor my grandmother, we would write poems.
Okay.
So a lot of times during, whether it was a Mother's Day or Thanksgiving or her birthday, we would write poems, and we would honor her with the poetry. And I have, and I have an uncle, John O'Neill. We call him Uncle Lucky.
I know John.
Yes.
He's my friend.
Yes, and he's a lot of folks' friends in the Boston area,
Yeah.
and he's a great man, and he's a great orator. And I would watch him when I was small,
Okay.
and I would mimic. And so I began to write, and then I just realized I had a voice from a young age, but so many other things muffled it. So many other, the street and men and all kinds of insecurities, fears, and doubts, and what would friends say. So I didn't want to let too many people know that I had that inside of me. You know, it stayed close
So
to
you suppressed that.
I suppressed it. That's a perfect word. And then after a while, I would, throughout all the trials and tribulations of my life, right, and writing people in prison, going to prison, writing letters from, people would say, you need to write a book. Or just based on your life, you need to write a book. You know that, everyone needs to write a book. Everyone has a story, I want to say that. But everyone can't tell their story.
Before you go into what people were saying, there was some doubt, or I had a lot of doubt about my capabilities, suppressing myself to be people pleasers, if you will, to, like I was talking to you the other day about my writing the play called Pain.
Yes.
And playing all the parts. You know, what was your story like in Pain to be who you have become today?
Yeah. The thing is, I want to go back to the book really quickly because in writing the book, a friend said, just tell the story. Because I didn't know where to start or what to do, and it was just tell the story.
Okay.
And in telling the story, I would get help from my mom, my late mother, Jamola. And
Let me interrupt you. Your mother was my friend, and I
Yes.
talk about that with you, but I just want our viewing audience to understand that you are a daughter of a powerful woman, you know, a woman that showed us what tenacity is all about and believing in what you can do
Yeah.
by coming to us in later life and being with our theater company that we're going to be celebrating 25 years in 22. Your mother was a part of that. So I just want our viewing audience to know about Jamola, your mother. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
she was amazing. So I would just write. I just would tell the story. And then, so I eventually, long story short, got the book written. And through there was laughter and there was pain and there was all kinds of stuff. But then, like you, with your play, pain and pain, playing all of those parts, later on I created a one-woman play. But it was things Mama used to say.
Right.
And so giving homage to the mothers and the sages of my life and the things that they told me, and whether it was a good direction or a bad direction or a confused direction, you know. So I actually pulled it back out last night and began to revise that piece of work.
Right.
So,
Well, you know, I want to also say that I know about your writing from people at funerals.
yeah.
I've heard you the spoken word, you know, and I thought that was another revelation of you.
Yeah. You know, it never dawned on me anything. And at one point, I kind of backed up because, again, what would people say? What would people think? But it was my way of honoring them as I did in my family as
And
a
you
child.
were holding it back at that particular time, but you probably, like me, could just sit and write.
Yes.
It has brought you back, would you say?
Yes. It centers me. It brings me back to my feet flat on the ground. It brings me back to my original self.
Right.
It peels back the layers where there's no makeup and there's no decision on what shall I wear or where shall I go, because it's just me and the paper.
When did you feel, you know, because, you know, Tanya, we were out there, we were in the life,
Yeah.
all right? And there were some controlling factors that we didn't even know about. You know, we just had to be in it. So, you know, people say, I'm in it to win it and all that, no matter what that was. I mean, if that was going to jail, you know, when we come out, we was going to be better at what we do or what we did, right? So now, you're at a point of realization now, Tanya, because you're doing some things. I went to one of your events. Tell us about how you put that together. What was that? What did that mean to you?
Well, in prison,
Right.
because I am a formerly incarcerated woman,
Right.
and it took a while for me to even be able to say that
Yes.
because of the shame, the stigma that came with it.
Yeah.
But I stand flat-footed today,
Right.
and all of who I am.
Right.
This is me. But during that time, a dream deferred had been rebirthed.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So in '93, I got the opportunity to go to MIT.
Okay.
700 and some odd people from around the country, around the world had applied. I was one of them, and I was one of the 15 that was accepted, so I belong there. My self-esteem didn't tell me I belonged there, though, but I fought through it, and I made it through with like a 3.8 GPA, so I belong there.
Yeah. Right.
And the final project was creating a program, right? And mine was a program of the arts for young people. Mine was going to be, it was...
That was started in 1993?
1993.
Okay, go ahead.
Dream deferred, on the back burner, 30 years, basically, give or take a year or two. Yeah. And I decided that I was going to make this dream a reality.
Right.
Let this dream come to fruition.
Right.
I'm sorry, I have allergies, and I have to sneeze.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
I don't.
Go ahead and
Excuse me,
sneeze.
it was-
Latanya Jones is here today. She's our guest, and she's talking about, you know, the water under the bridge, that she's gone through, and now she's back in the boat, headed for shore. You know, but we have to understand, folks, an addiction and recovery is like being a wave in the ocean that starts way in the back, heading for the shoreline. Is these terrible and mighty waves and the turbulence and the doubt that you can make it to the shore. That's what it was for me. When I finally got there to the shore and kissed the shore, and I didn't roll back into the ocean of being indecisive and contemplating instead of moving forward. Today our guest is Latanya Jones, and she has a story to tell. She's talking a little bit about her book. She's talking about her successes and the way and she's moving now. See, because we can't change the past.
Go ahead.
We can only use the past as a barometer to measure our future moves. And we don't judge each other because the Bible, and I do read that sometimes, says, "Judge ye not, so ye be not judged." And I'm not here to do anything but let Tanya tell her story, because she needs to tell her story. And we're happy for you to come here and
Thank
do
you.
it.
Thank you.
Right.
So now I'll try to catch up succinctly as possible. So in that cell, I brought that dream back alive, and God gave it back to me.
Right.
And I put it on paper, and I said, this is what I want to do. And I was inspired by the late Elmer Lewis. And it was that was a school of the arts that I went to, a performance school in the Andrea Herbert.
Yeah, I know Andrea.
Yes, the Roxbury Center for Performing Arts. Those two institutions were embedded in me when I was on 123rd Street and 7th Avenue in New York City, when I was like in the muck and the mire of addiction and fast lifestyles. Those things, those institutions were embedded in me.
Is that why you were posing like that sometimes?
Yeah.
Is that why you would?
Possibly.
Is that why you would be walking down 7th Avenue looking like the queen?
Possibly.
And was the queen?
Possibly, because when I was a younger woman, you have to remember, James Harris is my cousin. Harun Rashid is my cousin. These are men who were on a high level of hair care in America and around the world. Yeah. And they took me with them to work for Revlon and to work for L'Oreal. And it just didn't, it still was something in those streets that pulled me. That little girl, that beautiful girl who didn't take direction. I'm not going to say she didn't have direction. She didn't take direction well. And there was something missing inside of her. There was something missing. And we get into it, and I've gotten to it. And, I'm a work in progress.
When you were doing your show, I watched you, I'm looking for one thing, and I see something else. I see your mother.
When I pass the mirror, I see her too.
No, I'm talking about in what you were doing. With those kids.
Thank you.
I mean, you had ballet.
Yes.
You had hip hop.
Yes.
You had kids that wanted to have some say. You had the little two brothers that did did that little act and everything.
And
but
I want to say
I'm talking about working with children.
And working with community. I need to say that I didn't do that alone. I was able to build the community, bring the community together. I was able to reach out and build partnerships with Stages Dance Studio to bring those dancers in, to bring those hip hop dancers in. And that I met Sophia on the telephone. And
she felt you.
To Tony Williams Dance Center in Jamaica Plain to bring those ballet dancers over into Roxbury to show our children that they may nudge their mom and say, "Mom, I want to do that too."
Sonia, let me just interrupt you because I failed to introduce you to our earlier guest. He's the chairman of the Urban League.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I know you're going to get there. But anyway, Tanya, I want you to talk a little bit about your plan for working with preventing kids from getting involved in the criminal justice system. Your story is a story that is a continuum of being told, but I must let our audience know about what you see that you can do to help our young people.
Well, I am being remiss to myself because I didn't bring the information for All Things Art. All Things Art is a newly established nonprofit organization that I founded. That I am the founder and the executive director of All Things Art. All Things Art, what we do is we provide a safe space for young people to be able to express themselves, utilizing the arts so that we can prevent them. We are working deliberately to prevent, and this is an intentional interruption of truancy, bullying, gang affiliation, violence, and ultimately incarceration. My whole goal is that no young person will have to see the inside of a jail or a prison.
Or have to ask for toilet paper.
Or have to ask for
toilet paper. That's one of the things we do, folks.
Yes.
When we get incarcerated, we have to ask for toilet paper.
Women have to ask for sanitary napkins.
Yeah, right.
That type of humiliation.
When did you get this idea? When did you get this story? Because was that event that you did that I attended, that was the first part of your...
That was the first event that we did,
ahead.
and we gathered the community, and we call it the Showcase.
Did we come out? Did we come out?
Yes, you all came out, and you all showed out, and it was just so great, and I thank everyone, and we will continue to have...
I like that you did that, you know.
Thank
the way
you.
that you greeted the people and everything.
Yes, it was so wonderful, and we call it the Showcase, and we will have the Showcase again.
Okay.
There will be, I'm sure someone
Invite
will
us, invite us.
Yes,
Our
someone
theater
will have
company.
a showcase, but All Things Art will have the Showcase.
Invite us,
and we will invite the community. And what it is, it's not an open mic, it's an open space.
Yeah.
Because if you dance, if you sing, if you have spoken word, if you have an act, if you have a skit,
we have a
whatever
young
it
man.
is.
We have a young man to work with you to come in and dance.
Yes.
Yeah, we want the kids to understand
Yes.
that they are important. I think that's what you're trying to say.
They are very important, that they matter, that their thoughts, their feelings, all of that matters. And we go from ages like 10 to 25.
Okay.
And we don't just stop. We go from the youth to young adults.
Right.
Because young adults need direction too. Young adults need a platform to express themselves as well. So that's important to me, because I remember being a misdirected young adult. You know, I see today misdirected young adults. So I want to be able to help in any way that I possibly can.
I'm glad you're using your past experiences and that you're reshaping them.
Yes.
You know, to be a different kind of a vessel.
A much different kind of a vessel.
Right.
And I share, I'm
At the
very
same time,
transparent.
reshaping yourself.
And I'm shaping myself, saving my soul,
Yeah.
and some other stuff. But the thing is, it gets challenging being a one-man band. I'm blowing the horn here, I'm doing the keyboards over here, and then I gotta bang the drum over here and step on the cymbal over here. And
Who's getting the tickets?
yeah. So it's like very difficult in that way. And so like I'm seeking help now. It's like the funding, of course. It's just me. During the summer months, we were given an in-kind donation through the Marcus Garvey building of the Metro Boston Alive organization. He let us use that yard, and the
people are beginning to help you because
people
they
are
want
helping,
you to succeed.
right? And they see that.
We want you to stay in that particular mindset.
And I want to stay, and I want to be a part of the growth and development of this new generation coming up.
You want to tell us a little bit about your granddaughter?
Oh, Bobby. Hey, I'll tell you what, if you want to see Bobby, all you have to do is drive down Washington Street. On the side of the wall of the Black Market, it's a big purple wall, and she's there.
I have a picture.
With Brother Paul Goodnight.
Yeah, I got that picture.
Yes.
She's on the left-hand side, he's on the right-hand side.
Yes, and she's there.
I sat there yesterday, Tanya, and I hate to interrupt you, but I got to tell you, I was sitting in my car, right? And I was looking at that image because we took a picture, one of my associates already took a picture. So I was calling him and telling him that I figured out that was Paul Goodnight on the right? Mm-hmm. And so I said, look at the picture, man. He says, yeah, I see it with the pretty little girl on the left. And that's your granddaughter.
That's my granddaughter. That is Bobby Loren, and she's holding, I think it's amethyst stones
it's
that give out
it's
that
a plant
healing.
by her.
Yeah, and she's
A pink plant.
She's sending out healing
Yeah.
with the purple and the purple stones. And the artist knows best. It was her dad, Rob Pro Black Gibbs, and it was another artist. And forgive me,
I know Rob Gibbs since he was a kid.
and there we have it.
Like I know you.
We are a community.
Yeah.
We
We
are
are family.
Boston. We
Oh,
are
we are.
family.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we come together and make this work.
Let me say this to you, Tanya, because ever since I've known you, you know, I can see you. You know, when I say that, I mean it in a positive sense. And I recognize that you have something in you that's going to come forth, that we're going to be able to not only heal ourselves, but you're going to be able to heal yourself.
Yes.
All right? That's what I see in you. And I'm looking all the way back to Intervale Street.
Yes.
And I'm going all the way through, coming through 23rd and all of that stuff, TJ and all that. Folks, these are some old situations. But this young lady, Latanya Jones, is here today to let you know that she's doing some things and she needs some help. You have an email or a website? Or
I
something?
do. We do. The website is, of course, www.allthingsartboston.org.
Say it again.
www.allthingsartboston.org. You must
Tanya,
put the Boston on the end of it.
Just be encouraged. We're going to have you here again.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to work with you because you work with us and you're working in the community.
Yes. And can I give my email, please?
Sure.
allthingsart@gmail.com. So email
Say it again.
me.
Say it
allthingsartboston@gmail.com.
Okay.
Email me. Let's talk.
Right.
Okay? Thanks.
Folks, this has been a wonderful show today. I'm so grateful that God has allowed me to be who I am and not have to fake it till I make it. I am making it because of friends like Tanya came on today to talk about herself, and I hope that you got something out of that. And I know she got something out of talking about what she is doing. She doesn't have to be ashamed. She is in the game, not the game. My name is Haywood Fennell. I'm the founder of Triad Veterans League, and my number, 857-204-5312. And folks, 2022 marks our 25th year of performing as the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company, and we will bring you a smashing good time talking about cultural enrichment. And one of our planners is Sophia Haynes Caldwell, founder of Stages Center for the Arts in Randolph, and Dr. Keith Motley at the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts, and we are being directed by Sister Monica Anderson Spencer. You know her voice. We got it coming at you, and Tanya's going to be helping us. So we're looking forward to you coming back. Tomorrow, October the 7th, we're going to be at the General Edward O. Gaudine Park across the street from Boston Police Station 2 to honor the groundbreaking ceremony for that statue that you see on our screen. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you, and we'll see you another time. God bless you. Thank you so much.